I was a director at Haydon when I was 25. If you can demonstrate delivery and that you're capable, then why does anything else matter? And from a business owner perspective, my ultimate aim is to achieve profits.
Welcome to the A Players podcast, the place where we build and interview leaders in their field so that you can hone your skills and be at the top of your game, allowing you to make the most out of any situation and reach high levels of success. I'm your host, Haydon, coach to very high income earners, and I'm on a mission to give everyone the opportunity to step into wealth by giving you the skills, tools, and actionable steps to get that next level. Better leaders equal more profits a lot faster. Today's episode, we're talking about, we're actually interviewing an A player in his game who's gone from recruiter to investor to entrepreneur all around the world, starting off here in the UK in Birmingham, and he's gone over to America now from just being a recruitment consultant to now taking on the world. And we're going to interview this A player, Joshua Powell. So, quick reminder before we get started, the A Player podcast and community remains free. It is my mission to give back and share with you, the listener, give you the knowledge gained from working with highly successful individuals and extensive research in management science. In line with allowing us to achieve that mission, we do ask you to subscribe to the fee, but it's free, okay? So there is a fee, even though it's free, and that is to share this podcast with somebody that you may think could help out. And for those that are eager to dive deeper in how to use this podcast to boost their income, we've also got the membership subscription, the 100K Club, which is just click on Spotify, click on the little padlock, and you'll unlock that as well. So Josh is going to be interviewed in this podcast. We're going to spend a good interview session with him, and he's also going to share 2 lessons that will be in the 100K Club of how you can start to reach that 100K Club as well in any job. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to the podcast, Joshua Powell. How are you doing?
Hello, sir. I'm well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that intro. I think that'd be good for my CV moving forward, actually, that little blurb you just did there. So I might take that.
Well, talk about CVs, mate. You used to see quite a lot of CVs being a recruiter. And now how many CVs do you have to read other than recruiting your own A players into your business?
I read a lot of CVs all the time. I still part of my job to read CVs, so I enjoy it, actually. I quite like learning about people, and CVs are a good document to do that to start with. So my life, it revolves around CVs, to be honest.
Well, today then you've got your CV on a podcast. So who knows who you will be inspiring to create awesome CVs. So Josh, look, I used to work with you as a business coaching client.
Yeah.
When you started out. I'd like you to tell the listeners. So we've got over 1,000 listeners on the A Players podcast now. But yeah, Josh, would you like to give us a bit of a background about your journey? How did you go from working for somebody else as a recruiter to now taking on the world as an A player, and also sharing it's not just about being that entrepreneur journey, because you hire people that make a lot of fucking money as well. So sometimes people say, oh, look, I've got to go on this business owner journey, this entrepreneur journey. But realistically, you can work for somebody else and make a lot of money too. Share with us your journey and what's your experience with what you've gone through so far.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes working for somebody else and making a lot of money is a better route to go. It's certainly a lot less stressful. But I mean, should I start from the beginning? Or?
Yeah, it depends what the beginning looks like. I don't want to know about when you...
I won't go to when I was born. But I basically started off my career in recruitment when I was 16. I left school at 16. I had no qualifications. I got in trouble at school. I had a bit of a checkered past. So I left, and I was really fortunate that I got an opportunity to work in an accounts department of a recruitment agency. And I realized very quickly that was not for me. I say it sounds more glamorous than what it was. I spent 7-8 hours a day stuffing pay slips into envelopes. So that was my job for the first kind of like 2 years of my career. I quit that, unsurprisingly, and then I managed to get an opportunity to actually work on the shop floor as a recruiter. So I was actually doing recruitment when I was like 17, 18. Left there, went to Dubai for a bit. I lived in Dubai for a short period of time doing sales. And I came back to the UK and I joined a company called Hayes, which is the biggest recruitment company in the UK. But it was, I don't know if I had a bit of a torrid time recently, but it was the biggest. I'm not sure if it still is. Was there for about 8 years. During that period of time, I became their national biggest fee earner in construction and property, which is my specialist area. I was the youngest ever director within the Hayes business. I had teams recruiting people in insurance, finance, marketing, property, construction, etc. Won a couple of National Manager of the Year awards and that kind of stuff. I had some good growth within my teams that kind of led me to that. So that was my journey at Hays, really. So I loved it. I had a great experience, made some great friends, learned loads in that business. The time was right for me to kind of set up and do it on my own, basically. So I'd always had the ambition to run a company from when I was a child, essentially. I was quite lucky. I was one of those people who always knew what I wanted to do, and it was always to be in business. It was inherent within me. I wanted to run businesses, and that was kind of always my goal. So I set up my own recruitment business, Joshua Robert, in 2018. So we've been on a bit of a journey since then. We've opened into different markets, as you said. Got a great team working for me and Joshua Robert now. We've achieved some good numbers. Just done an investment deal, which I'm sure we'll talk about. And I've also invested and set up one or two other businesses on the side since then as well. So I say on the side, then one of them in particular is not really on the side anymore.
Surprising how other businesses go fast once you've done your first one, isn't it?
Absolutely. But I mean, my experience within Hays really, was kind of what I suppose is interesting for this, and the part of what's interesting for this. But I had a great journey there, and loved that environment really. But it was just the right time for me to set up and fulfill what I always wanted to do. But So
Hays is an awesome company, and listening to this anyone listening to this podcast now, just to make it really clear. Josh, I know your journey within Hays, and you met a lot of mentors and great managers along the way as well. So working for a company like that was a big part of your journey.
Absolutely. And I was really fortunate. I was part of a great team when I started at Hays, and some of the managers that I had there, one manager in particular who was so beneficial for me in terms of personal development, personal growth, as well as, the professional side of it. I had some personal issues. I used to put way too much pressure on myself. I was very stressed, lots of stuff that manifests itself in some people in ways which are not good, and I was guilty of that. He was brilliant for me as a leader. So I had I have, and it's a great business. It's a great business. They've got a great business model, great people in the business, great brand, etc. So yeah.
So what's really interesting, Josh, is it okay? Well, you'd be honoured to say this actually. You did all this before the age of 30.
I did, yes. Well, I was a director at Hays when I was 25. So,
25 and you was a director at Hays. Now, we talk about interviewing fucking A players, right? There's a reason why you're on this podcast. Director of a leading recruitment company by the age of 25. Holy shit. Listeners, if you're thinking that age you're too young for something like that, because we get quite a lot of listeners that watch this and on YouTube as well, Josh. They go, maybe when I'm 30, when I'm 35, that'll be my most successful years. But look, you've just absolutely debunked that belief.
Well, I think I came up again, being 25 and in that position with a big team of people to manage who are, in some cases, I had people who were 40, 50 years old, double my age in some cases. And that comes with some real challenges because people are prejudiced against you for your age. And certain people are when you're their manager. Fortunately, I lost my hair when I was 24 and I had a beard that grew out when I was about 12. So appearance-wise, I could pass as a bit older. But I mean, it certainly comes with some big challenges when you're managing people that are older than you when you're that young. That was a challenge, but great learning experience.
So you actually employ people of all ages as well. You've got people under the age of 25, is that right? That are you consider A players. I mean, I know your team as well, and some of the people. I've worked with them and coached them. Yeah. They are absolute. Yeah. When it comes into that class of A players, they are at the top of their league, aren't they?
Well, one of the guys who works for me at the moment is just turned 21. He's we've just put him into a management role. One of the most talented people I've worked with, and my view is that if you're good enough, then I don't care really about how old you are or anything else. Nothing else matters to me. If you can demonstrate delivery and that you're capable, then why does anything else matter? And from a business owner perspective, my ultimate aim is to achieve profits, but also to have a great culture where people feel they're succeeding and they're able to develop. And I'm never going to hold someone back if they can deliver. Why do I care? What their how old they are or anything else. It's irrelevant, and I think most sensible business owners would agree with me on that front. If someone can deliver, who cares?
Well, this is it, isn't it? I mean, my other life from doing the A Players podcast is business coaching, and the amount of people I work with that go look at the actual objective results that people can get, but not just can
Exactly.
get, but what are they capable of achieving with the right culture, the right support, the right leader around it, and that's something that. You walk in your office, and what's the 4 words on your office? The acronym GRIT. What does that stand for?
So we've got 4 core values in our business, and we call it GAPO. So the first letter.
GAPO. I thought it was
GAPO,
GRIT is one of them, right?
You were with me when we wrote this, so you should remember this.
We came up with it.
That was really interesting because what we did was I looked at, and with Lewis and with some of my team, we looked at the best performers we'd collectively ever worked with, and we did a matrix of all their key traits, and consistently those 4 things came out, and grit was kind of one of them. I love that word grit, and it for me it means perseverance, determination, all those good things that come under the word grit. But it's so important. It's so important in any job that you have to be resilient, and act with perseverance, and that encompassed it for me, that word grit. So grit.
Well, number 1 on the list is grit then of GAPO.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about the others then.
So grit, ambition, passion, and openness were the 4 traits we identified in a top or an A player, if you like. Every A player that I've ever worked with demonstrated those things. So ambition is an interesting one because people automatically think it's just about themselves. In my world and in my view, if you're ambitious for other people and you're prepared to serve other people, that's actually, in some instances, more important than being ambitious for yourself, being ambitious for others.
Wow.
Which took me a while to get to that realization that actually, if I'm adding value to other people and I'm ambitious for them, genuinely ambitious for them, I'm going to reap the rewards of that as well. Passion, if you can't deal with people without enthusiasm and gusto and verve and passion, then if you're in sales, leave, don't do sales if you can't demonstrate that. But if you're in any industry, in any job, if you want to progress, you've got to be passionate about what you're doing, and you've got to demonstrate that to your boss, to your customers, to whoever it might be.
To the customers as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then openness, really. So for me, openness is about being prepared to have frank and honest conversations with everybody around you and not taking things personally, being great at taking constructive criticism. Took me a long time to get good at taking criticism because I thought I was the best and no one could tell me what to do. But I realized I was nowhere near the best. And that was when I started really developing. Being open, having open conversations with each other, with our customers, sometimes having difficult conversations with people that they might not want to hear, but actually invariably people really value it when sometimes they don't immediately, but they'll go away and reflect and go, do you know what? Josh said that with integrity and he's doing it from the right place because he cares about me, because he's ambitious for me. And I'm happy he actually said that. But sometimes, I've been told to fuck off many times, in the first instance, and then people come back and say, actually,
by your team,
well, by customers, I get told to fuck off all the time. But as long as you're coming at a conversation with the right place, it's coming from the right place, and you positioned it in the right way, so people understand you're saying it because you care about them, or you care about the situation or the process or whatever it is, and you can be open. It doesn't mean being rude; it means being honest. In my experience, that's always stood me in good stead. I think people will know that I'm prepared to have a difficult conversation if it's required. I'm not going to shy away from it. And I think that's important.
Prepared to have a difficult conversation.
And listen to difficult conversations if somebody's giving you some open feedback as well.
Yeah. I mean, mate, look, I was your coach for quite a while. And I think that they say there's a coach for everybody. And me and you resonated quite well when it came to difficult conversations, because on the DISC profile, you're a high D dominance style, some strengths in that, but also some weaknesses as well. Everyone's got their strengths and the weaknesses. And also I'm known as the high D coach amongst my community as well. In fact, a lot of people shy away from me because they think high D is this person who's going to come and tell them directly what it is all the time. But it's not the case. The scenario is just like what you've just said there. If you care passionately enough about that person's vision, mission, purpose, why, like you've just said, then it's okay to have those conversations. It's when people come in an absolute fucking arsehole because it's not positioned properly. But like you've just said, people will tell you to fuck off. How many times did you tell me to fuck off? Basically every coaching session. And a lot of coaches would have swayed away from that and gone, oh, I can't deal with Josh doing that. But mate, knowing where you're going, knowing the journey that you're on, because I'm a business owner as well, and you're obviously on the similar journey of where we're going, world domination, by the way, the pair of us.
Absolutely.
We get it. We get it to have those tough conversations. Right now, mate, I mean, how many times do we have the meeting with you about, Josh, you need to know your fucking numbers, mate. You need to know your numbers. And then you go, oh, shit, yeah, I do need to know my numbers. And you go to your team, what's the number? But it's because you care so much that, look, if you lose clarity of this, it's going to go in the wrong direction.
I think that comes back to the open conversation piece and being prepared to listen. And when you challenged me on certain things, you did it in a way that I knew you were only doing it because you wanted to see us succeed.
Yeah.
But you'd position that with me. I understood that what your aim was, and you weren't doing it just to be a dickhead. You were actually doing it because I needed to hear it. And one of the things I've learned is get people around you that will give you honest feedback and aren't afraid to. And that's harder as a high D because we're deemed as, sometimes overbearing in our communication style. So if you can get people, and you've got to work on that as a high D, by the way, so that other people can be honest with you. But if you can get great people around you that will give you honest feedback, whether it be within your company, with friends, family, your wife, whatever it might be, you need people that are going to say, Josh, you know what, you're a bit of a twat there. And that's really useful.
Yeah, it's spot on, mate. What we're talking about here, by the way, ladies and gents, if you're just tuning in on YouTube or Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, is that we're talking about disc profiling. So if you do want a disc profile, any more reading on disc profiling, or would like to get a disc profile done for you, drop the word DISC, D-I-S-C, in the comments, and I'll get a copy of that over to you. So, Josh, I mean, understanding personality, openness is part of the GAPO. It's open, honest communication. All critical, right, if you're going to grow a business. But the culture thing, the 4 core values, these are things that you not just look for and promote people by. These are things as well that you hire and fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have you ever had to be in a difficult situation that you've had to do that?
Several times. Yeah. The framework of GAPO is guiding, as you say, not just for when we're promoting or looking at stuff internally, but when we're bringing people into the business, it's really useful actually. And we have a matrix that we use to grade people on how much they've demonstrated on GAPO through the process. But equally, when people are in the business, I know that those 4 traits are what make you successful in my world. And if you are unable to continually demonstrate them, then there has to be a question mark around whether you're right for us. So there have been. I mean, look, there's other factors in with people as well, but invariably, when people haven't worked in the business, it's come down, and you can pinpoint which one of those 4 things they're lacking generally. And the great thing with GAPO is all of them you can work on, and you can it's a choice in a lot of instances. Well, in all of the instances, it's a choice to display those things and to ingrain it into your psyche and the way you are. And some people, in my experience, thrive with that, and actually they go, do you know what? That's a great framework to move forward with. And others, struggle. Particularly, I find with the grit one. In my industry in recruitment, you need a lot of that because things go wrong frequently. We're not selling a product in recruitment. We're dealing with people, and our people change their minds. They do things you don't expect. They call their boss or whatever, and that can create huge issues for us. And a lot of people struggle with that grit element of being persevering through hardship. And hardship is invariably only temporary. But, a lot of people I see that team seems to be the one in recruitment anyway, where I've found if people struggle with one thing, it's that.
Yeah. It sounds like you're being, so I work with quite a few different recruitment companies, and it's really important to get these core value stuff down because
Yeah.
For fairness of the employees as well, because I know as well, Josh, it sounds like we're both two hard bastards going at this, and it's positioned as the A player. So a lot of the people that listen to this are going to be this sort of audience. But just if you are listening, you are a manager or a boss or an entrepreneur that works inside a firm, understand that it's not just about being tough all the time. Your culture, even though like you got grit as the first one, I'm fully aware as well, there's a lot of psychological safety in your business. You're very accommodating to all different types of personalities and people. And, it seems like we're hard bastards all the time, but there's a lot of, you make them feel real, what's the word? There's a lot of emotional intelligence around it. If someone's having a tough time, you help them. Yeah, it's not like, to get your calls done, go smash it. You're there to support people as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you have to feel safe in your job and in your environment. It's crucial for great performance that people are feeling loved, they're feeling happy, and they're feeling like they can have the open conversations. So, yes, grit is a framework for what we use. If somebody is struggling for whatever reason, it's not like, right, you're not showing any grit, off you go. The environment that we've got is, we want to help people. We've invested in you massively when we hire you. So my view is, I want to give you the tools, and I want to support you, and I want to be there when things don't go well. But ultimately, what we're looking for is people that take accountability, ownership, and responsibility of their own reality. And, with the guiding framework and with the support and nice culture and good environment, they take accountability for their own situation themselves. And that's really the only time you can fully become successful, is when you take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for your own situation.
Wow.
Wow. But yes, I'm not a hard bastard. We don't just sack people all the time. Very rarely, in fact, seldom ever. I can't think of too many occasions.
Well, you don't hire them in the first place, do you? With those core values that are really clear. And again, everyone goes on this journey, no matter what business I work with. I mean, I invest in businesses now as well, so that I know what it's like to go on this journey where we've got to start to put these core values in. And not all the time does everyone really align to it at first. But when you start hiring on core values, it's not just about the business. It's about doing the right thing for the people as well. Because if they aren't aligned with the core values, it's not like, hey, look, you're no good. There's a better business for you to be in that might suit your core values. So the clearer a business is on the core values, there's loads of recruitment companies out there. They all do stuff a little bit different. And the way in is just to recognize what the core values are. And if it's going to be a good fit for you, if not, find one that is, or I can help you find one that is.
I've got a great example of one of the guys who's a key manager for me, one of my top performers, brilliant guy. And he worked for what I regard as a good recruitment agent, a very good recruitment agency prior to joining me. And it just wasn't right for him. He didn't thrive there. He didn't have the right market. Maybe the leadership didn't suit his style of wanting to be managed. And, he didn't do very well. And he come and joined me, and he's absolutely ripped up trees in a different environment. So sometimes the environment does is important. And there's a few people I can think of like that, actually, where sometimes it's just a change of leadership and environment which can help them. So it's probably a very important thing to take stock of is, are you in the right environment for you to be really successful?
Wow. Absolute game changer, mate. Game changer. Okay. So environment. Yeah. I mean, look, people have got to be in the right environment for them to flourish, haven't they? And if they're not, people just think, look, there's two elements that this can go. A business can just take on a lot of people that just get by, go with the flow, and the business will probably just steadily either grow a little bit or, start to decline a bit. But we're not talking about that sort of business with your businesses, because you are more than one. Your businesses are what's considered rapid growth. Yeah. Anything above 20% growth year on year is rapid growth. So you are talking hyper growth, right? And the way that you do things, the culture that you build, the leadership that you deliver, the people that you have around your boardroom table, I was one of them people, one of the coaches. You now have some serious people. So it's honor to be on that journey with you and get you to where you was. But now you're talking like Dragon's Den style, right? You're talking another level.
just came off the call with a dragon right before this, actually. So yeah,
You did. You was on a call with a dragon. And guys, if you're listening in America or Australia, Shark Tank. Yeah, Shark Tank is what it's called over there. Dragons then in the UK. Josh has just come off the call with a dragon, and now he's gone on to an even more important call on the A Players podcast instead.
Absolutely, yeah. I had to rush him off the phone because I knew I was speaking to you, Lewis. So
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, make sure it's prioritised. But look, mate, this is something bigger now because you've done some amazing stuff here. And I let out about how old you were when you started to accomplish now. You're 33. You are multiple £1 million businesses. You're around the world doing this. This is the A Players podcast. It's here to help people to step up and realize that they can achieve greatness by doing what they do in one job. Yeah. It doesn't have to be multiple jobs. It can be, because what we find, Josh, is that people will go, oh, there's other opportunities, grass is green on the other side and stuff like that. But the core message that we put across in A Players is look after your number solo job first, your primary job. You can be great in it. Would you agree what I'm saying here?
100%. And for me, in my experience, if I hadn't had the 8-9 years, whatever it was at Hayes, that grounding was, I could never have done what I've done without that. And actually, I look at the people within my businesses, and there's no reason that those people, well, some of them are already achieving some mega success, but there's no reason why you can't be seriously successful whilst being within the business if you're in the right business, and you've got the right environment. But there's, for me, it was really hard to move on from Hayes, as I talked about, because I was seriously successful and enjoying that world. And if I was still there now, I'd still be very happy.
So, mate, how do we position this then? Because you went from a good place where you'd done a lot of learning, a lot of mentoring had happened. That created you into this character that could go out there, and no matter what you start to do now, you'll be successful in it. And you're proving that by doing your different ventures, yeah? So they built this character that was this 20-year-old lad, 25 director. By 30, you were running your own business. What made you go from good to great? Because that was already really good. Why would you want to go out there and start all this shit and put yourself underneath the pressure of being a business owner?
Are you asking me to think about this? You're asking me to answer it?
I'm asking you to do both, yeah. If you want to have a bit of time to think about it, mate. But was it a little bit close to home, by the way? Going, what the fuck am I doing all this for? I can go and work for somebody.
And that's what I'm a bit conscious of, is just positioning. I don't want to encourage everybody to leave their job all of a sudden and then go and do.
Yeah, well, this is the point, isn't it? Is that people think they've got to go and own a business to do this.
Yeah.
Well, you was already doing really well, and there's people in your firm that could do that as well. But you've created an environment where it doesn't make sense to. Everyone who comes and works in your firm can be hugely, hugely successful. Tell me about how you've set that vehicle up to attract great A players to your business that helps them be successful.
Yeah, so I think within my business, I'm a big believer in empowering people with autonomy. First of all,
right.
So what we want to do is give people the tools to grow their own business within a business, and then let them get on with it. Essentially,
boom, grow your own business within a business. So you don't have all the stress and the pressure. You've got the security. You've got the solid foundation, but your autonomy to be successful is, if it is to be, it's up to me.
Correct.
They can grow their own business within a business. If only every coaching client harnessed that, they would be massively successful.
I think that's the way that I've always ran the business, and how we, I want people to think like that. And from my perspective, they have absolutely the autonomy to grow their own business. I've got a good example of this, but if people can deliver, within their own right, then I'm not going to hold them back. We're a meritocracy in my world, and we promote and reward people based on delivery and performance. So if you're delivering and growing a business, well, let's talk about the next promotion. Let's talk about the next pay rise. Let's talk about how you get LTIP agreements or equity shares or whatever it might be within the business, because I want you to come on this journey with me. I'm not here to create at the Josh Powell show. I'm here to create a market leading business, which hopefully creates multiple millionaires throughout that process, and gives people the environment to flourish without having all the stress and pressure and sleepless nights and God knows what else of actually going and doing your own business. I never discourage anybody to do that because it can be massively rewarding, but you really need to, you really need to think about that, because there's a lot that comes with that, And if you're in a great position and you can really succeed in entrepreneurship, as Lewis talked about, as you talked about, mate, I had I felt I had that opportunity with where I was, I'd probably, in my employed life, I'd probably still be there.
Yeah, interesting. So you've set something up now because you saw a gap in recruitment where they couldn't be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I.e., to put it in your words, you create multiple millionaires.
My ultimate goal, my dream, if you like, is to exit, the business is having created a team of millionaires, that have been with me on that journey, that have experienced it with me, have been in the trenches with me and reaped the rewards with me. And I think my people know that, this isn't about Josh being fabulously wealthy and the Josh show. As I said, this is about, I'm passionate about growing a market leading presence. And I need to take those people with me if I'm going to do that. And, they know that the rewards will be there for them, if they come with me on that journey, and we achieve what we're setting out to. So, and I think that's for me, why the hell would you want to go and do that on your own if you're in a position where you've got that kind of, that kind of opportunity in an established business, which has already got a platform to go and do that, that's certainly, if I was in that position when I set up the business, I would never have left my prior role, to be honest. So,
well, exactly, mate. You've created a foundation to make millionaires. Yeah. And this from a customer point of view, by the way, because there could be some of your customers listening on this right now, and people go, "Oh, well, what do the customers think about that?" Look, you don't become a millionaire by selling ice to an Eskimo, right? You can become a millionaire by adding value to people's lives. So I've got a lot of my customers from different businesses. I've got the different firms that I own that listen to this. I have no problem with that, because I want to let my customers know this is how we add value to people. By adding value, my team members, my managers can become millionaires if they want to. Very similar line, Josh, is that part of this, we're going to do some elements on it in a while on the 100K Club, is to get people into that first step. Because if you do 100K 10 years, you're a millionaire. Yeah, you can classify these figures as towards those steps to do that. By the way, mate, I think you're going to get quite a few CVs come your way from this podcast. Because remember the audience that we're facing here.
We are hiring. I'm hiring. Send them over.
Well, yeah, a vicious circle, right? It was like it was all planned all along.
This is a big sales.
But it's a very similar line, mate. We understand that there are people out there, and again, 25% of people would listen to this and go, yeah, I want to become a millionaire. I want to take the steps to move forward. 75% might not want to do that. They might want steady jobs. They might want the security. Might not want the pressure. Not that it is pressure, because it's good mentoring along the way as well. There's something for everybody. But the audience that are listening to this do want to do what you're saying. And what you're saying there is, if you created a business that allows people to flourish and then make millionaires, it's a vehicle of how they can do it and get there.
Absolutely. And it boils back to finding the right people for me that take accountability and ownership of their own business within my business. That's what I look for. And the point you made, interestingly, about progressing, I think for me the biggest part of the mentality for me was always not, and I'll talk about goals and that kind of stuff, but how are you serving others and how are you adding value to other people? Think about that first. I've seen so many people look at who want to go on, Josh, I want to earn 100 grand a year. I want to earn 200 grand a year. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, you want that. Great. What are you delivering for other people? How are you adding value to people? What are you doing to serve others? And I don't just mean your customers. I mean your colleagues, your manager, your staff. How are you serving other people? Because money will come to you if you're adding value. and you're serving others. So that should always be your primary focus. It's always a red flag for me when people talk about, I'm seriously money motivated, I want to be rich, I'm going to do this. Okay, great. Well, actually, in my experience, people that talk like that seldom, if that's their only focus, there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's their only focus, okay, so how are you going to add enough value to other people to achieve that? Let's focus on that, because the rest comes with it. So,
yeah, you're spot on, mate. And look, in some of the firms that I own, you have specialist niche in your recruitment, don't you, by the way? We haven't spoke about that. I mean, this is the A Players podcast. We want to talk about the people in the business. But from a business perspective, you found a niche within recruitment and really honed down on that. Now, when I use a recruitment firm, let's say we hired Stacey from a recruitment firm the other month, and I'm quite surprised.
It's outrageous.
You know. From what, sorry?
I might put this call down now. I can't believe you did that.
You don't do the. It wasn't for your niche. Look, I'm going to be completely honest, right? If I've worked with your business to help you grow it, I'm going to invest in you until the end. Yeah. Let's say like the recruiter, as lovely as she was, the recruiter. So yeah, I was quite surprised that the recruiter that was helping our business find this person just helped put the one person in. Now, with a lot of good sale, the way that is it sales or is it professionally helping people to solve their problems? Okay. The actual problem we're going to get in is we're a hyper growth business of 25, 30% growth each year. One person isn't going to make the complete difference, is it? We're always going to need great people. So rather than being a salesperson of, hey, look, here's a bum on a seat, let's get the fee for it. If they had to become a trusted partner with, I'm going to find you great people until you reach your goal. By the way, let me say, what is your 5-year goal? Well, hold on a minute. That person is now invested in me. They're becoming a partner in how you help me get to my goal, not just by sitting one person in to put a plaster on the problem of something we need to solve right now. What about the rest of the opportunity? There's so much stuff that a recruiter could help with, but it gets in the way when they're just thinking, oh, just go for the next sale, just go for the next sale, just go for the next sale. Long-time relationships, that person just needs to get relationships built and be a trusted advisor.
Well, I think short-termism is a problem in recruitment, but in every industry, particularly from a sales perspective. Part of the reason we have ambitious as our values is because we're ambitious for our customer, which means that we want to go on the journey with that customer. The biggest challenge for businesses to grow is getting the right people, and we solve that problem in my industry. So we want to come on that journey with you. We want to understand the business, the challenges. Where do you want to be? I think having short-term view of, right, and I see this so often, it's one quick win now, great, on to the next one. No, let's build a proper understanding, a proper relationship, and let's actually work out how we can add value for the long run. I talk about becoming an extension of my customer's business. I want them to know if they want to enter a new market, if they want to, if they've got a challenge with someone leaving or whatever it might be, I'm there. I'm the person that they're going to reach out to, straight away. And I already understand the business. We've built up a great relationship, and I know the kind of person they're looking for. And they know that I'm doing it with genuine intent to help them. I'm not here for a quick win. And that's where the consultancy, element of it comes in. Actually, what other value can I add to this process around just finding you the right person? Is it market intel, salary advice? It might be some retention planning in terms of how you keep people moving forward, progression planning. How can we add value beyond just the transaction of filling your vacancy and you paying us for a fee for it? That's what I'm hoping to do. And fortunately, through my career or through my business's lifespan, we have the majority of our businesses repeat customers. And what's great for us is we have, a lot of the people that I placed 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago as entry level people have now become directors and owners and whatever else. And they go, right, Josh has placed me in 4 of, I've placed them in 4 of their jobs, right? I placed them in every job in their career in a couple of instances. So they know that I'm not here just to make a quick buck out of them. I'm here to serve them and to find ways to add value to them for the long run. And that's how I think, the mindset should always be, particularly if you're in sales, but in internal functions in a business as well. How are you serving your internal customers? How are you making their lives easier?
Yeah.
The worst thing you hear is that's not my job, or language like that, from internal suppliers.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the wrong mentality. How are you serving the people around you? Because that's how you're going to progress.
Look, mate, I mean, what you're saying there, people listening in, especially business owners right now, and there might be other recruitment people listening in as well, and they go, yes, we know all that. Yeah, that's the lovely part. We know that our company does the same. We don't just sell to people. We're there because we care. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to call this out right now. Bullshit. You think you know it. You've only seen the iceberg of it. But what it actually fucking takes is a lot different to when you actually go out there. I'm going to be really passionate about this, mate, because I see this, especially competitors amongst my businesses as well. And they will say, yeah, we care. We do the best thing. We do all this, and our people are doing all that. That is great listening to this podcast or reading it on paper. But when it actually comes to the point that somebody actually has to sit there and actually genuinely care about 100 calls that they're doing that fucking day, and then that's when we really see where the true essence comes out of it. Because they go, this is too hard. I've had a hard weekend. People aren't talking to me. They're saying it's about the price. Look, all that stuff, all that objection handling can be handled by reading these books. There isn't one sales book. There are thousands of sales books, and they're written for a reason. Yeah. So if you're not prepared to pick up a fucking book and start to read how you can get better at your job to take care of your own business within a business, go rewind and listen to what Josh just said, players. Listen to what he said, because he's actually doing it. And it's okay to say, look, I'm going to write this down as a plan on a piece of paper. People talk about soft skills and hard skills, right? Yeah. The hard skills are the hard skills until the people show up. The soft skills are the hard skills when the people show up, because you've got to do it in a way that you've got to keep them inspired, motivated, and engaged for not just a week, a month, 6 months, for 6 years, a decade. And that's what you do really well, mate, because you want to make millionaires and you know what it takes.
Do you know the interesting thing you said there, I think, is when you talk about, people come in and you use the example of making calls and they don't want to do it for whatever reason today, or that, this is, I've got to make 100 calls. Do I really want to try and add maximum value to every person throughout that? Well, you want to talk about how you get to 100K, how you get to 200K in terms of salary. You have to do that religiously every single call, every single time. And if you do that, it doesn't take that long. Do that for 6 months and wait for the results, because they're going to start rolling in. The people that don't, and this is 90% of people in my experience, they come in and they have an off morning and they haven't built the habit of, when they're having an off morning, they still do the right thing. They still add maximum effort. That they're the people that don't you go on and make the 100Ks, the 200Ks. The difference, and one of the big differences, is consistency of performance. Even when you feel shit and you don't want to do it, you've got to do it, and you've got to find a way to make yourself do it. One of the things which this is super cringy, right? Super cringy, but one of the things which
share your secrets. The cringy secrets are always better. I
don't want to be one of these people either, but I've started doing an ice bath in the morning, and I think that's
cringy. I thought he was going to say he's going to do something like.
I think it's one of those things where you have to get out, just getting up and doing something you don't want to do is a great way to build the right patterns in your brain. And for me, it's kind of like, I've conquered the challenge. I'm not bothered about coming in and making 20 calls on a day-to-day basis now. I'll do that regardless of how I feel. I've built the habit over a long period of time, and it's second nature to me now. But I think building things, my point is that you do things you don't want to do first and build it into a habit, and then it becomes not challenging. But that persistence initially is where it's difficult. But that is a big difference from going from 20, 30, 40 grand a year to 100, 150, is consistently doing maximum effort.
Yeah, doing the shit that you don't want, building that resistance part of your mindset, that resilience part of your mindset. I mean, we could do so many different podcasts together, mate. We really could, because you're actually out there and doing it. Now, I walked into your offices. They're in the mailbox in the middle of Birmingham, the most prestigious place you could be in Birmingham. You've got one of the biggest office blocks there. And I'll say that you've got the office block, even though you've got like some offices on the floor, because you do own the office block. And what I mean by that is whenever you go to Josh's office, you'll see your salespeople walk in the corridors with phones attached to their ears because they're just taking over. They need to be around the environment. They've got so much energy. They're moving around, walking around. And I was like, hi, how you going? And the salesperson walks by. Man, I'm not even at your office door yet. And there's people like swarming the office block. And I'm like, yeah, this is Josh owns this building. Josh owns this building.
Yeah, I mean, that's got us in a bit of trouble actually. But
go on, can we talk about that?
We can, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of jewelers in our building, and where we're situated, and obviously need to be quiet when they're on the phone. So we had an instance where, over a period of time, my staff are up and down in the corridor. They're on the phone. They're having banter with each other. They're selling. They're doing whatever. They're loud in the corridors
it's
because
fun,
it's too
right?
loud in our
environment.
It's too loud in our room. It's too loud in our rooms. They have to go out. They're in our office. They have to go out and so they can hear themselves on the phone. But this one guy took real offence to the fact that we were in the corridor making a noise, and he came out and he actually took a swing at one of my employees. But the guy he took a swing at was not the guy. He's a martial arts trained and all the rest of it. So probably not the guy you want to take a swing at. So he ducked the punch apparently and put said to the customer, "Sorry, can I call you back in a second?" But we don't get violence very often. That's the one time I've ever seen that, and that person got thrown out the same day. The police came in, or it didn't. No one got hurt or anything like that.
Not your people, yeah. The jeweler. Yeah.
Interestingly, the guy got back on the phone, did the deal. So happy days.
So your person was on the phone. Is that resistance? Is that resilient? That he has a few punches.
Yeah.
I'll call you back, mate. Just got something to deal with. Bang! Knock this bloke out. So where were we? Close the deal.
That's it.
Now we're talking A players, right? Now that's A player content right there. Love it.
Multitasking. Absolutely.
Josh, mate, absolutely brilliant. Like I say, there's plenty of stuff with these podcasts. They stem off in different directions. We add so much value to people. We've added value to business owners' lives today. We haven't spoke about your investor entrepreneur journey that much. We just spoke about you as how to build A players, really. But you as an A player, you are going places as well. Give me the next 10-year plan for Joshua Powell. What's the plan? Where are you going as an A player? What's possible?
Well, for me personally, I think my ultimate goal, as I said, is to create businesses with people in there that become millionaires. That's my long-term goal. I've just set up in the last year or so a firm of chartered surveyors, which is a building surveying firm. So I'm very, very excited about that. I mean, I've got a partner in that business who's phenomenal. So my aim really is to create businesses where I'm able to leverage the business to make sure that the people in the business are very, very successful. Hopefully it will enable me to go and do some other stuff in terms of investing and growing and being entrepreneurial in my world, which is what I really enjoy. Yeah. I have in Joshua Robert, the recruitment business, we have James Kahn on board now, obviously. So, we have to, the Dragon. Yeah, we have a kind of a 5-year plan with James to make sure that we're reaching maximum value and at some point achieving an exit, to create wealth for the people in the business and for investors. So there's lots to do. Beyond that, I'm very passionate about the US. We've got a fledgling business in the US. My partner is American, so I'm very passionate about investing in the US. And we have I have a small property investment company as well. So we're looking at doing some Airbnbs, and we've got some investments we're looking at in the US as well. So there's plenty to do. But ultimately for me, it's about how do we create market leaders and how do we create wealth for the people within those businesses.
Amazing, mate. Amazing. Now, a lot of young people, where I did an episode on this as well, instant gratification is a problem for a lot of young people. So a lot of A players that listen to this, the target market tends to, it ranges, but a lot of young people listen to this as well. I just want to make it really clear. instant gratification. People really think that they can achieve a lot of stuff within 1 year. How long has it took you to, one, get the skills, develop yourself as an A player before you go on this entrepreneur journey?
One of the biggest things for me is taking accountability for self-development. There's not a time frame on that, because that's continuous. You have to do that continuously. That never stops. One of the biggest thing that gets under my skin when people come and meet me for an interview is, I always ask, why are you leaving your current role? And I would say 50% of the time it's, I'm not being developed enough, or I'm not having the right training program, or I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
And my response to that is always, okay, so what are you doing for yourself? How are you taking accountability at developing yourself? Because if you've got a problem with what's happening in your business, that's fine. But are you taking any accountability for it yourself? Are you reading? Are you doing any courses? How are you growing your own skill base if this is a problem for you? And the amount of people that have given me a good answer to that, I can count on one hand. But in terms of the how long does it take to get to that position? How invested are you? For me, I deleted TikTok, I deleted Instagram, I deleted Facebook. I got off all the stuff that's going to impact my mind. And when I get into home in the evening, I studied an MBA, or I read. I've just finished reading a book which was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is brilliant, which I think you recommended to me. So I don't think there's a set time frame on it. I think it's more of a mindset. It's more of a mindset. If you've got the right mindset and you're continually developing and learning yourself and taking accountability for it, not waiting for it to happen, things can happen really fast. Things can happen really fast. For me, I got to director at Hayes when I was 25, and I'd created a business with, multi-millions of turnover within 5 years after that, and during that period, I studied an MBA for 2 years. Because I took my development really seriously. And part of that is I wanted to demonstrate to other people how serious I am about my own development, because if I'm doing it, then there's a good chance they're going to look at that and go, okay, well, I should be doing that too. So, that's, I think there's no time frame. It's a mindset. Flip it back on you a little bit.
No, it's brilliant, mate. And this is it. But what I was, I totally resonate with what you're talking about there. It's like brothers, mate, when we talk about that, because absolute right mindset. We must have.
Well, I haven't been a DBA. I'm not quite that intelligent, but if I keep working hard, maybe one day.
To be intelligent, mate, you just need to be a resistant fucker. I tell you, 5 years and not seeing. We won't go into it. Don't do it.
We'll be called Dr. Lewis at the end. I'm looking forward to addressing you as doctor.
Yeah. It's not far off, mate. It's not far off. But no, look, what I was saying here is that you spent the first 5 years. You could have gone to university and done all that stuff. You decided to get stuck right in, and you went in there. You learnt the stuff, and you've took all this mentoring from what you had at Hayes. If you hadn't have done the journey with Hayes for 5 odd years, would you have been able to go straight into business knowing what you know straight away? Being the character.
Okay. No.
All right.
Oh, well, there's no reason I couldn't have, but would I have been would I have been successful in doing that? I don't think I would have been. I needed that grounding. I needed to understand how my industry worked, how business worked. Lots of people do it and do it very successfully, but for me, no, I needed that grounding, and I also needed to mature, as a person as well through that period. Which Hayes did. That environment helped me to do. I knew from a very young age that it was inevitable that I was going to be successful, and I've always believed that. I genuinely believe that whatever I do, I'm going to be successful. I don't go into something unless I believe that. But from a time frame and learning perspective, it was the best thing I could have done. Best thing I could have done was do that journey at Hayes. It was brilliant from a learning perspective.
So
go on.
Carry on, mate. Sorry, I've interrupted you.
I was just going to say, so I took massive value from that, basically. So
look, and now Hayes' mission wasn't to create multiple millionaires.
No,
yours is.
Yes.
So if you took that much value from working for a company that's vision and mission wasn't to create multiple millionaires, but yours is, if somebody was to come and work for you for 5 years, how more successful would they be taking all the learnings that they could get from you, from just by being around you, by the way? Because if they started to go on the journey with you as well, with the other businesses, how much are you going to learn from entrepreneur Josh, not just business owner Josh? And then in 5 years' time, if they did go and start their own firm, how much would they be able to accelerate their success? Now, the question is then as well, when they're making millions in your businesses, and now you're starting and buying other businesses as well, there's plenty of opportunity in the group instead. So you're creating multiple platforms for people to scale up within. As long as, and guys, listen to this, business owners and managers right now, if your business owner or CEO or leader is buying bigger businesses and scaling that business, you will scale with it. They've got to. So if you're an A player, doing all the reading, doing all the grit, following the core values, you're going to scale with it. So look, in 5 years' time, you may decide to go and do your own thing. But look, if very similar to Josh's business right now, if there's a foundation out there, here's one key thing to success. Just follow the foundation of what works. You don't need to reinvent the fucking wheel. Go and work for great leaders. And if you are business owners, start thinking about how your leaders can be better than you, rather than you wearing the Superman pants all the time.
100%, and that's a hard lesson to learn when you're in it. Particularly when you're ambitious and you're in it, maybe in the early stage of your career and you're on a ladder, actually becoming a leader and then realizing your job is to make people better than you. This is a hard realization, and it takes a mindset shift.
And it's your baby as well, mate. You've built that business as a baby. I'm talking from my own experience now. You know, I go into the business, and I like to say that I did 1 day a week. Now I don't. I do more. But I let the people in the business. I don't speak to any of the customers in my business. And if you are listening to these customers, it's not because I don't love you. It's because I want my A players to be your best friends. They're the superheroes, not me. But what's happening now, Josh, is now the managers need to get that understanding. So it happens another tier down. So they're always going to go through this. Imagine what it's like for a business owner to let go of their baby and let someone else run it instead. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Do you know, just one of the things which I someone said to me years ago, and it's always stuck with me, is you should do more. If you do more than you're paid for, the man who does more than he's paid for will soon be paid for more than he does. And I think that is something which if you're thinking about progressing and developing within a business, that's such a powerful tool. And I got a great example. So one of my guys came to me probably a year ago. He's brilliant, and I didn't need to hire. He's come to me with this plan, and he gets super excited. He's got loads of passion. He's a bit too open sometimes, if that's possible. He sits down with me and he says, "Josh, I've got an idea." I said, "Okay, what's your idea?" He said, "We've got this market over here. I can see this much revenue in it. This is how I'd attack it. This is where I'd go. And these are the clients I've already outlined." Blah, blah, blah. He puts this great business plan to me, and I'm really impressed. And he said, "What do you think?" I said, "That sounds great. Okay, how do we do it?" He said, "Well, I'm glad you said that, because I've already interviewed someone who'd be good for it, and they want to see you next week." and I thought, do you know what? If I could replicate that, that is what I mean by taking ownership of a business within a business. He got promoted. I think we promoted him like 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years. He's going to get another promotion soon. He'd be listening to this, and he already knows it. But that's the attitude basically, and it's so impressive, that kind of thing from a taking accountability perspective.
Well, mate, look, you got to put your and this is the thing with the vision, mission, and the culture, right? You got the culture there. If your vision and mission is really, really true to make and create multiple millionaires, if I was working for you, mate, what I'd say is, "Hey, Josh, remember when you said you want to create multiple millionaires? I'm going to be your first millionaire." And it's not going to be easy, but understand that when I put pressure on you, Josh, it's going to come from the right place to allow you to achieve that vision. Now, this is how you make me a fucking millionaire.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean, though? Because it's what you want to achieve, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think that, if you're in the right business and you've got the right leadership, they're only ever going to love that kind of thing, in my experience.
Exactly right. Look, you're listening to the A players in the 100K club, right? people will resonate with this on this podcast. People that don't resonate with it, there are the right businesses for them and the right culture for them as well. You know, so it's not just all about pound, 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 and everybody has to do this the one way. There's multiple ways of doing it, you know, and that's what makes a good coach as well, Josh, is that the way I would coach you is different to how I would coach somebody who's a high I, high S, high C. Everyone's got their own way of doing stuff. You know, you're never going to agree with that because you're high D, and there's only your way and the highway. So
I would disagree. I've learned that over the years that actually, you know, having people from different perspectives is very, very important and valuable. So yeah.
So what's James then? Well, James Kahn, is he high D, high I, S, C? What would you say?
Well, I wouldn't want to speculate.
No comment. No. Okay, you don't have.
I haven't put him through my test just yet.
No, fair play, mate. Well done for getting him on board as an investor. And yeah, your journey is well worth watching. So, guys, Josh, if people want to follow you, have you got your own podcast as well, by the way? Did you do some podcasts? You're certainly on LinkedIn, aren't you? If people want to follow you on there.
We're launching a podcast soon. We haven't got one at the moment, but we've got, I'm on LinkedIn. It's Josh Powell. We've got my core businesses are Joshua Robert, which is property specialist recruitment, and Godwin Powell, which is a building surveying firm. So take a look at those two, and I'd love to connect. And you know, if anybody wants to reach out and chat more, then I'd love to. You know, I love helping people, and I love hearing different experiences and stuff. And I'd love to chat. So, and if you're looking for a job, then let me know.
Well, look, mate, you're here to create multiple millionaires. It doesn't mean they have to work for you. It'd be good if they did work for you, because you give them the foundations and the rule book of how to do it, you know, and you've done it already. You are making millionaires. So it would make sense to come and be around your circle, wouldn't it? And that circle, sometimes people can't just stop and join you. They've already got some good opportunities going, but just give you a follow and start to learn from you. Yeah, so
absolutely.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Right, mate, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the 100K Club. We'll just do 2 short episodes in there. So, guys, if you do want to know how to apply this stuff, Josh just talked about how he builds millionaires. He's now going to give some small lessons, short actionable steps of what you can do in any job, whether you're a business owner, manager, employee, executive, no matter what. He's going to give you some actionable steps of how you can increase your income to reach that 100K club. So if you're not a member yet, click on the padlock. It's the same price as Netflix, so there's no fucking excuses. If you can pay for Netflix, Josh, you'll resonate with this, right? You'll resonate with this. £15 a month for Netflix. If you can afford that, and Disney, you can afford £15 a month to be in the 100K club.
Absolutely. So, prioritise your investment, 100%.
It's a very small investment, but you'll be surprised how £15 becomes too small thinking. And guys, if you've got that mindset around money where you're not prepared to invest 15 quid, 1,500 quid, 15 grand, 150 grand, 1.5 million, 15 million when you're James Kahn, then you're not going to be on that fucking ladder in the first place. You're in the wrong place. So the £15 a month is your first step to understanding investing in your personal development. See you in the 100K Club, guys. And for those that aren't joining us, catch you next week, and be sure to spend that fee. The fee is to share this with somebody else, where there's just one gold nugget in this you could share with them, and you could really help change their lives. Catch you on the next episode.